Over 60 years ago, a group of United Methodists got together and decided that there was a need for another Methodist church in Statesboro. In 1956, ground was broken on land donated by the widow of the former president of then Georgia Teachers College, Marvin Pittman. Over the years, we've expanded our buildings, performed renovations and regular maintenance, and borrowed money for our last renovation, which we now need to repay. But our slate roof is failing. This is most noticeable in the sanctuary. All you have to do is look up. The replacement of the roof will be a very large expenditure. From these buildings, we can launch ministry for generations to come. Therefore, we've embarked on a capital campaign called Repay, Repair, Renew. Repay, we need to repay our existing loan and debt. Repair, we need to replace the slate roof and perform other repairs around the church, such as rotten wood, the women's bathroom, and repair the parking lot along with many other things that are needed. Renew. We need to renew our lives in commitment to Christ and His purposes and freeing God's resources for missions and launching ministry for generations to come. When we do all these things, we will be preserving Pittman Park United Methodist Church for generations who will follow in our footsteps.
Over the past few months, we have been celebrating the 60th anniversary of Pittman Park. The church was born in 1956 out of the vision and courage of a small group of people who felt God calling them to do something new. It is an inspiration to me to reflect on the wonderful investment of time and energy and resources these individuals made, and how God's grace has been poured out in such generous ways. One of my favorite stories is about this chapel. If you haven't visited it, I encourage you to take time to find the beauty and quietness of this space. It truly is one of my favorite spots on our church property. As I have heard it shared, back when the original sanctuary and educational wing were under construction, resources were very limited. Church leaders reviewed the architectural drawings and came to the conclusion that funds simply were not available for the chapel to be built. When the architect was called to revise the plan, he politely refused. It seems that this man had caught the vision of this young fledgling congregation. He told them he would cover the cost of building the chapel. And in addition, as the story goes, throughout his life, he sent a generous annual donation to support the ministry of Pittman Park. Pittman Park United Methodist Church has a rich heritage with so many stories. The story of God at work through Pittman Park among us on Sunday mornings. Worship is filled with the Spirit's presence, whether you are in the sanctuary or in the fellowship hall. And there is a new sense that we are beautifully diverse and yet not divided. The story of God at work through Pittman Park, educating our children and our youth and our adults, connecting us with each other in lovingly supportive and nurturing ways. The story of God at work at Pittman Park, leading us to reach out and to serve our community, putting our faith into action by loving our neighbors. The story of God at work through Pittman Park, helping us to embrace the wider ministry of the church in global missions and through connectional giving. I can count it a distinct privilege to be the senior pastor of Pittman Park at this time in its history, as we work together in support of this capital campaign, Repay, Repair, and Renew. Let me challenge you to be filled with the vision and courage of those earlier members of this great church, and to believe that God's grace will be poured out in new and generous ways through us.
Pittman Park means to me is it's home. Statesboro was my first home away from home, and I attended Pittman Park as a college student, received my degree, and I've now come back as the associate pastor. Pittman Park has raised me. It's raised me, one, as a youth minister, now as an associate pastor, and it's helping me raise my children. So I truly believe that Pittman Park and the calling that God is offering us speaks beyond just me as a leader, but it speaks to the families and what we can offer here.
This campaign is very important because we need to repay the current balance on our last loan through our building program. We need to make sure we have this building repaired for our future, and we need to renew our commitment to this church and to the United Methodists. I support this campaign. I have been a member of the Finance Committee for many years, and having this debt paid will allow us to have some room so that we will have more money to use on our programs and on our missions. So I hope you join me in supporting this capital campaign.
My husband and I have started the Dominican Republic Missions Project through the support of Pittman Park. In that time, we have been able to build a chapel, and our church, Pittman Park, specifically helped to put the roof on that chapel. But without the support of Pittman Park, we would not have been able to start this ministry nor continue it running.
When I came here, I was looking for a church for my family and came into this building, and I found the newly renovated children's wing. And man, just walking through that hallway, I could tell that this church really has an emphasis on their youth and their children, and they putting a lot of resources into that. And I could tell that, you know, this is probably the place where we need to be, where our children can learn as much as they can about Christ and do it in a place that makes them feel good about going to church.
I remember one of the first Sundays after we decided to come to Pittman Park was a covenant renewal service in January, and it just felt like a new beginning for us at a new church, and the words were really powerful to me. I'd never been to one before, and that still sticks with me every time we go through it.
What does Pittman Park mean to us? And first of all, it means that Faye and I can come to a place and feel comfortable as we worship God. And second of all, it means that we are part of a church family. People that love us, people that care for us, and people that will have our back when things are not always going so well. If we're successful with our capital campaign and we are able to repay, repair, and to renew our church, there will be monies left over for us to fulfill our mission statement, which is to make faithful followers of Jesus Christ.
Haiti mission is a special mission. It's a medical mission, and it takes people who have been involved in mission work before to really do it. There are 17 of us going this year. We're only 10% of the mission the way I look at it. The other 90% are the people at this church and in the community that support us, because we can't go without over-the-counter medicines. We can't go without the money to get us there. Plane tickets this year are $550.
If the church were to become debt-free, we would already have this complete wing would be paid off, which means that any renovations that needed to occur post facto would be possible.
Being debt-free would really help with us being able to purchase things like props and fun things for them to be able to visualize as we go through the lessons.
From Pittman Park, we support directly or indirectly over 35 groups, including Backpack Buddies, Young Life, Meals on Wheels, Rebecca's Cafe, Food Bank, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and Cub Scouts, just to name a few. Let me now encourage you to begin your own spiritual journey in support of our capital campaign, Repay, Repair, Renew, by asking yourselves, how can I determine what I should do? Have I prayed about it? Have I made this a matter of faith? Does my gift and commitment represent a spiritual and financial sacrifice? Today we have enjoyed the fruits of the labor of those who have gone before us, and I am confident we will build on that tradition. I would like to thank you for your time and ask that you spend time in prayer about our capital campaign.
Hallelujah.